This is MacKenzie Weegar, and you're listening to Missin Curfew.
What's Missin Curfew? It's when you kind of play guilty, but you show up.
How nice is a green light on the road, though? No practice tomorrow, no plane, just go.
Scotty Upshaw in the clear, and he scores! Right in front, scores!
A few laughs, a little bit of fun, and obviously a lot of hockey talk.
You're listening to Missin Curfew.
Fellas, coming to you from Hall Pass Media in Newport Beach, this is Missin Curfew. I'll tell you what, we got rid of those forwards on this show, right? You can't trust a forward. They turn it over on the wall. They over back check. They don't get it deep at the red line. You get caught out there, you get hemmed in. So it's just a couple old defensemen, an offensive defenseman, right shot, stay-at-home defenseman. I got my boy, Swishy, Jordan Smoltz, coming to you, as he always says, from the Chin of Scottsdale. Swishy, good to see you. I love that lid. That is fire. And it's nice to just have a couple of reliable defensemen and get rid of this Upshaw Richardson guy that are turning pucks over on us, huh?
100%, Obi. We cut the dead weight. It's just D to D hinge with you. And it reminds me of the early days, brother, when you brought me in on a PTO in camp. Said, hey, Swishy, I might need you here, brother. This is like the old days, Obi, just coming into camp, play with my partner. So it's good to see a fella. We got a great show on tap. Man, feels good, though. Just D to D. Don't even need to look up the ice. Let's just go D to D all night, brother, in the neutral zone.
Yeah, I used to say if we have the puck, they can't score. So just go back D to D, little hinge, D over here, back here, change. That was always a good shift for me.
Yeah, fella, hey, slide it back. Yeah, okay, yeah, look up. Nope, back to me. So, yeah, we would have been great partners, Ovis. You would have been talking to me all night, and I know you'd have had the front of the net for me, and I just go shake biscuits, and I wouldn't get hit because if they, if I had to wear one, I got the big fella right.
Yeah, and I would have done a hell of a job for you. Just thought, I don't know if you can do it anymore, but remember back in the day, if it's like chipped into your corner or chipped in the strong corner and your weak side D coming over, I just hold that guy up a little bit for you. I give you like half a second or second to make a play, and then you wheel the net, and I'm like, wheel, Fishy, wheel. And then if you're a little trouble, a little hinge to me over the weak side D, and then you even keep joining the play if you want.
Yep. Set that pick for me. Get him on your back, Obi, and then you can just mirror him, big fella. You got him on that big bear, and then I'll just wheel the net and make the play, fella.
Yeah, I like that. And you know what? It was great. I mean, we became buddies through, well, obviously I was a fan of what you've been doing and your content and, Updog knew you from St. Louis, and then I met you at the Wasted Management, but then I was like, switch you. I'm like, fuck, we got an opportunity here. We'd love to add you to the team. And we just kind of sat down and started snapping it. I mean, our chemistry was pretty good from day one. It's not as easy, especially in Zoom style, to just be like, okay, fella, here we go. We're going to just do an hour and a half show or whatever. But we seemed to right away be able to go D to D, knew each other.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of mutual buddies, and even just the times, the couple touches we had in person, whether it was at the Wasted Management or in Toronto, we were on the same wavelength, and that's huge. And you kind of know right away if you're on the same wavelength, you talk the same way, you have the similar terminology. It was right away, brother. It was just tape to tape, crispy rice, as you would say.
Spicy tuna. I would have just, on the offensive zone too, I would have just snapped it over to you. You could have walked the line, get a little wrist strain, or go down the wall, a little clapper. It would have worked out nicely.
Yeah, and then especially sitting in the locker room, too, just chirping the forwards, that would have been great.
Yeah, love chirping the forwards. Where did you get that nice little Buffalo Sabres red? That's a great symbol.
Yeah, so one night when I was just pinned, and I think I had came back from Chippewa Street, and I was just flying high on just the good people of Buffalo, Gabe's Gate, Bada Bing, all those good bars, the good people of Buffalo. Couple nights at the Key Bank, aka the Key Bump Arena there, I ordered this hat on Fanatics. So I ordered it. I think I got it last year after our show. And, I've been sporting it ever since. I always feel for the good people of Buffalo, Hopes. Long winters, you don't see the sun. You got an owner, you got a GM making suspect moves all the time. So anytime I can rep the old Buffalo head, I throw it on. And especially a time right now with that trade that they just made. I don't know. We'll see, but they let a really good young player go once again, my friend.
Yeah, they did. And Princey put up on Missin Curfew the amount of talent that has come in and out of Buffalo. And when you look at it from that perspective, I'm just like, imagine, I don't know, they kind of hope they could fit all those guys under the cap nowadays, but they had a lot of talent there, man. Like, even a guy like a Marcus Foligno, who's arguably one of the best power forwards in the league, tough. Like, they let him leave town. Obviously, Reinhardt, Ikes, Fact Daddy. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's McCabe, who I'm not a huge fan of as in Toronto, but he's a solid NHL defenseman. It's like, man, how many of these guys are going to continue to just kind of make mistakes on Swishy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you throw in Monty Kid Fella in there.
Monty Kid Fella. Exactly.
Right? And I'm pretty sure they even had Linus Ullmark, the goalie.
They did have Ullmark as well.
So you talk about a laundry list of really good players, and Obes, the crazy thing is they drafted a lot of those guys. They brought those guys in, obviously not the Fat Daddy or Brandon Montour, but a lot of those guys they drafted. And I tweeted out last night, even if you're a young prospect going into the draft this weekend and you get picked by the Buffalo Sabres, well, they'll help you find your forever home, right? So like it might not be in Buffalo, but they'll ship you out in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. So they'll develop you and then they'll let you go. They're a great foster home over there in Buffalo.
Right, right. By the way, your X is on fire lately. You've just been sending just fire on X, so keep it coming. It's as one of your fans, it's unbelievable. You're such a great writer. That's a talent that you have, my man. We've talked about it before, but when you go to the Buffalo Sabres, Matthias Samuelsson, when they gave him the 8-year deal, right, for $4.2 million, I said, I haven't seen enough of this kid, blah, blah, blah. And people from Buffalo are reaching out to me on social. It's going to be a great contract. It's going to be a great contract. You know, it's going to be a steal. Well, I saw some fucking rumblings last week that they're thinking about buying this kid out. So it's like, once again, these GMs that are in a hurry to give, especially a defenseman. Forward, I think you can get away with it a little bit more, but to give a defenseman an 8-year deal when he hadn't even had 100 games in the fucking league or whatever, it's like, you don't even know what this guy's going to be. And now, I don't know if they are going to buy him out, but I've heard some rumblings from David Pagnotta and the boys that they're thinking about buying this kid out, Swish.
Yeah, and listen, I've heard he's a good kid, right? But
I'm sure he is.
that doesn't exclude the fact that, Obes, when he signed that deal, he had 40-odd games played, and he hadn't even scored a goal in the National Hockey League.
Exactly.
And you're giving a guy $35, $40-odd million at 8 times 4 and a hook or whatever it was. To me, that's insanity, no?
Yeah.
I was grinding for my 150 on a 2-way after 40 games played. This guy, here's $30-odd million.
Right? It's crazy. Like
fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts, and it looks like a deal that's going to come back to kind of haunt them a little bit. Maybe he'll turn into the defenseman they thought he was, but I saw that come across one of my social feeds, and I was just like, like you said, he played 40 games, hadn't had a goal yet. It's like, you can't reward this guy with that. Give him a 3-year deal, give him a 2-year deal, and you see what he turns into here. So, the poor Buffalo Sabres, we're always just banging on the poor Buffalo Sabres fella.
Yeah, we'll get up to Chippewa Street. We'll make things right. At least they got a good football team there, and you know what? Who knows? Yeah. Maybe they'll turn this thing fucking around. Just get these guys in the playoffs in the next decade.
Right?
The good people of Buffalo, they deserve that.
They do deserve it. It's a great, as you know, it's a great hockey city, and when they are good and they are in the playoffs, like that arena gets rocking. Chippewa Street gets going even more. So let's hope they get back in there. Swishy, I want to go over the trade with you here in a little bit. But real quick in our little intro here, fella. You know, I talked to you guys on Tuesday, you and Richie, about, you know, I'm starting to creep up in that danger zone of the weight I don't want to get back up to, and I've done pretty good. I'm cutting carbs, and I'm really cutting sugar. Did I have a bite of a vanilla cookie after lunch today with my boy Evan? Yeah, I had a bite. Yeah. I'm not proud of that, but I had a bite.
Sue me.
Yeah, I had a bite. However, you know, this morning I'm getting up, trying to shake off the cobwebs from a long day of golfing up at Bel Air, and I see my boy Swishy, the People's Insider, says, "Hey, people who think salads are healthy, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever, but you said it obviously in the Jay Swish manner. Are you telling me salads aren't healthy, bro? Because I'm about to have a salad for dinner tonight."
So, Obes, there's 2 things on salads here, right? If you go to the grocery store and you just pick up your Dole kit of a salad, that salad and that lettuce, that shredded lettuce, that's for the birds. There's no nutritional value in that. I guess if you need a placeholder for calories, that would be okay. The thing with the salad is you got to make sure you're getting the leafy greens, okay? So if you're going to load up a salad, do spinach. Throw some onions in there, throw some peppers in there, and then supplement that with some protein. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I just hung out and had a beers with a couple of them before. And I think that is what they've always told me is if you're going to do a salad, make sure it's those leafy greens where you even throw in a little broccoli in there, just asparagus, some zucchini, different things, Obes, that'll really help you out. Spinach is great for you. A lot of nutritional value in there. Yeah. But if you're just doing the salad packets and you're throwing ranch dressing now, get some croutons and some shredded cheese, fella, that's for the birds.
That's for the birds.
No nutritional value in that. Yeah, that's just get the woodpecker out.
So you're telling me, like, for example, tonight was my plan to have like a homemade chicken Caesar salad. So you get the romaine lettuce, chop it up nice, a little avocado in there. I'm going to stay away from the croutons. We're going to have these, like, she's going to make like her own little bacon bits, right? She's going to grill them up, avocado, grilled chicken. And then, yeah, I'm gonna lay some Caesar salad dressing into that, my man. Like, I'm not going to go over the top, but how does that sound to you? I know Caesar salads are not perfect, but like, I'm really just going to try to stay away from carbs and sugar, Swishy. That's what I'm really going to try to stay away from. But you're saying you're better off having a, 8-ounce, 6-ounce chicken breast, broccoli, stuff like that, right? To get the more nutrition value out of it.
I think so, but let's walk before we run here, big fella.
Yeah, that's true.
It's way better than having a burger and fries and
Yeah.
banging down a molten lava cake from Chili's.
Yeah, I do love a good molten lava cake.
Oh, it's the best. Or a Billy Miner from the keg back home. Oh, my God. It's the best. But no, I think that's okay. It's like, you did that, and you did that consistently. That is so much better than anything deep fried, anything they're cooking with, those different seed oils and things like that. You're on the right track. So maybe just throw a little spinach in there, too. You can still use your
I know.
lettuce.
I've never
Just
been.
a little bit of that.
I got to get some. I've never been a huge spinach guy. I got to, right? It's the best thing for you. Now I like a little sautéed spinach. Sautéed it.
Even if you just mixed in the normal shredded lettuce with some spinach, and then you had some dressing on it, and then you had your chicky or salmon on top of that with some bacon bits and avocados and whatever else you're throwing in there.
Maybe some
You can get away
tomatoes.
with it.
Maybe some tomatoes in there.
Well, treat yourself.
Treat
It's Christmas Day.
I'll tell you what, I was proud of myself yesterday, Swishy. Bel Air Country Club. Shout out to Teddy Purcell. He's absolute beauty. Took us out there for a round of golf. We got to get you out and play Bel Air, man. It's so pure. And they have this burger that is a replica of the In-N-Out burger, but it's called the Up and Down Burger or something like that. But I mean, it's unbelievable. So we sit down for dinner, and all three, Teddy, Collins, and Beach, are all over the burger. I'm like, fuck, tough here. So I went New York strip with some mixed vegetables. I was pretty proud of myself. Couple glasses of wine, but that's okay. It's good for the heart, right?
So, I mean, yeah, 100%. It's nutritional value there. You're fine.
You're fine. All right, so throw in the spinach, add the protein. I like it, Swishy. I can get onto that, my man. Day 2. I'm on day 3. I've done all right. For lunch today, I had a little chicken breast with some mixed vegetables. So I'm heading in the right direction. I already kind of feel better even after 3 days of not eating bread.
80-20 rule, Obes. Like, you can't just go in and just go full hardo, right? You gotta treat yourself maybe one day of the week. But if the 80-20 rule, where there's a little balance in there, you don't feel like a complete psychopath. There's balance. Life's about balance.
It's all about balance, moderation and balance, fella.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm gonna have a cheat day. I'm just like, either my Saturdays or Sundays. I'm gonna go full cheat day. Just get after it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I will be in touch with you. You keep yourself in good shape. I might need your help over this little. Gonna try to lose 20. So we can see what we can do here. Swishy, the class of 25 was announced on Tuesday. Today I saw something, the first time eligible guys for 2026. And there's a couple guys in that list that jumped out to me. Patrice Bergeron and Phil Kessel. I'm going to start here. I want your opinion on Phil. Obviously, Patrice Bergeron is a slam dunk. First ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to get in. I mean, the amount of times he won the Selke Trophy, they almost should maybe rename it the Patrice Bergeron Trophy. But what about Phil the Thrill? I'm going to look his numbers up here, but I know how much he means to you as a guy. And for you to see him eligible for the Hall, that's got to make you, realize how good of a player he was. And do you think he gets in first ballot?
You know what? The pride of Madison, Wisconsin. The one nut bandit. I mean, the guy, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Obi, the Iron Man of the NHL, 1,286 career games, good for 992 points, 413 goals. And it could have been a Conn Smythe, honestly, in that 2015-2016 run, as far as I'm concerned. I believe they gave it to Sid that year, but Phil was unbelievable on that line with Bonino and Hagelin. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Famer, Obi. He'll get in one day. The thing that kind of just makes me a little bit hesitant to say he's a first ballot is Ryan Getzlaf to get in this year.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you're stacking their careers on top of each other, they're you know what I mean? Like, is Phil considered a better player than Getzy was? Phil one year, obviously, I mean, he was a 30 goal scorer pretty well into, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever he did it for. But I don't know. I don't know if he's the first ballot. I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer. One of my favorite players of all time. First ballot Hall of Fame guy, teammate. I just don't know about if it gets in on the first go-around. Man, there's so many good players. Like McGillney didn't even get in for 20 years, and that guy, he's an over a point-a-game player.
Yeah, first ballot is pretty much impossible, right? And you're right, he's not going to be a first ballot. I got his stats here. God, he needed 8 more points for 1,000. It's too bad he couldn't have got that. And I just assumed that he had 500 goals. He only has 413 goals. So as much as I love Phil, and everyone loves him, played 1,200, almost 1,300 games, I do believe he's a Hall of Famer, but without 500 goals and 1,000 points, Swishy, he's going to be waiting around for a little bit. It's not going to be, like you said, like even for next year, just look at this list of guys that aren't first-timers. Carey Price, you got to think he gets in next year. Patrick Marleau's still not in. The fact that Big Walt Kachuk's not in is an absolute fucking joke. Ryan Getzlav, Henrik Sutterberg, Patrick Aliash, Rod Brindamore. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like Phil, he's on the fence. As much as I love him, and now that we've dug in and saw his stats, and I think he's on the fence of a Hall of Famer. If he had 1,000 points, and I know it's only 8 assists, Swishy, but that would make a difference for me. So we'll see. I think he's in tough.
Yeah, and Wisconsin's Gretzky. I mean, this guy was the best player I've ever seen play youth hockey growing up, especially in my area, and just even playing against Sid growing up. Like there was a time where Phil, you could have made the argument he was a better, younger player in terms of minor hockey than Sidney Crosby was. Both born in 1987, a couple of months apart. But quickly, Obes, I just want to touch. I mean, the guy battled cancer. The guy battled testicular cancer, and I know most people overlook it or overshadow it, but the career he was able to go on and have, despite having half the testosterone, man, people don't really think about it, but it's pretty crazy to what he battled and what he went through, and just the courage and the strength he really has. I don't think he gets enough credit for how tough he is, man, especially mentally. The guy is a nail gun.
No, you're right. It makes a big difference. Like when we were playing the show, our testosterone was probably up around 1,000, right?
At least.
Now I gotta get on Life Force and take testosterone just to get me up to fucking, I think I'm flirting around with 600. The highest I got to was 700. Like if your testosterone's half of that, it's tough to keep your energy up and find that motivation and keep going. Like that's a great point from you. And the one thing about Phil that, obviously his numbers and his cups in Pittsburgh, he was, a perfect pickup to go in there and play with Sid and the boys. Like didn't have to be the guy like he was in Toronto, but a perfect secondary piece that could play the power play, could skate. But when he went to Vegas and he wasn't playing during the stretch of them winning the Stanley Cup, and how good of a teammate he was, and how much, Jack Eichel and these guys loved him. And, I went out there for the finals, with the Updog and a Fella tour, and there's Phil out there bag skating with the boys and playing 3-on-3. It's like, he didn't have to be that good of a guy throughout that process, right? He could have showed up at the rink, went through the motions, and left. Like, to me, that showed his true character of what a glue guy and team guy he is. So guy alone, he should be in. But like we found out with Getzlav and Carey Price not being first ballot Hall of Famers, he's definitely not first ballot, but hopefully one day he gets the call. If we had a vote, which we don't, which we should, but we don't, he'd be in, wouldn't he, Swish?
100%. I mean, Obi, the guy's made over $100 million or close to it on the ice. He's been really successful off the ice. And he's a guy, even last summer, was still skating, just hoping for a job, man. Even to go in there, maybe on a PTO with a handshake deal. He didn't have to be skating. He was grinding it out with the boys in the summer. I went out there a couple times. He was still working out. So, yeah, in terms of a legend, in terms of a guy that I always looked up to, especially growing up, Phil the Thrill Kessel is always on that short list, man. What a guy.
Yeah, he's a beauty, Phil. He used to go with me and Loops in Toronto and just be like, I don't know how you fucking guys do this. Like, how you do this? Like, I'm like, Phil, just start with that you play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, buddy. That's a good way to start off there, fella. But congrats to Phil. Probably didn't end the way he wanted to, right? And there's only a certain handful of us, Swishy, that get to tell the game when we're done. Usually the game tells us when we're done. So good on Phil. Good look at the poker table, fella. And interesting to see those next year, 2026 first ballot Hall of Famers. Before we go to break, let's not forget the show is always presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Fellas, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Swishy, my man, it's the DraftKings free agent big board. Presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Swishy, I never got to July 1st I got there. And I actually thought I was in decent shape after making the playoffs the last 3 years and being in the league for, 5 or 6 years. And it didn't work out for me, but I'm jealous of a lot of things. Jealous of the boys that win the Stanley Cup every year, and jealous of these guys that come July 1st that have set yourself up to be in a situation where you have an opportunity to pick the next 7 or 8 years of your life, where your family's going to go, where your kids are going to go to school, or if you're a single guy where you can go and get involved, mix it up. So I'm jealous for these guys, I'm jealous about these guys, but Swishy, is there anybody on the big board there, the DraftKings big board, that jumps out to you? Obviously, Mitch Marner's the big dog on there. A lot of rumors of him going to take a 2-year deal because the cap's going to go up to like $130 million in 3 years. But who else jumps out to you that might get overpaid or might, maybe not get what they deserve?
Well, Obes, I'm looking at a guy in Nikolai Ehlers.
Yeah.
And the Danish fellow out of Winnipeg. Now, there are reports. It sounds like he is indeed going to July 1. That's been the report, and that's been out of there for a couple weeks or months now. But that's a guy I'm always hesitant, and especially if I'm putting myself in a general manager's shoes, I would be hesitant to pay a guy on a 6, 7, 8-year deal under the new CBA, is 6 or 7. I'd be hesitant to pay a guy that's 29, 30 years old. However, this Nikolai Ehlers, I really like his game. I think he's got jam. I think he's developed toughness over the years. I think the way he can fly up and down the wall, make plays, he's durable. He actually plays heavier than you think, and he's not scared to chuck him, which for a European guy, a Scandinavian guy, is rare. So if there's one name, Obes, I'm looking at, and I'm looking at adding scoring, a guy that can fly up and down the wing, and a guy that can really push my team to the top or over the hump in a top 6 position, it's Nikolai Ehlers. I really like his game now.
That's well said. I couldn't agree with you more. And he's in the position to where I agree with everything you said about it, the way he plays. And he's going to be a guy that I think is going to get a deal here on next Tuesday. And you're going to be like, wow, that's a nice little 8-year, whatever it's going to be. I do think he's an electric player. And I think the time is right for him, right? Like, he's had good success in Winnipeg. You get to UFA. I think he could be a guy that hits a home run. Brock Besser is another guy. All things, David Pagnotta and Chris Johnson have kind of indicated on the old rumor mill that Minnesota, that's where he wants to go back home. I'm interested to see how it plays out for Brock Besser when he does get out of Vancouver. I thought 2 years ago under Rick Tocchet, the year they won the division and went to the second round, lost to the Oilers, was the best hockey I've ever seen him play, to maybe besides the first year that Travis Green got to Vancouver. And then this year, he battled some injuries and battled some stuff, but I thought he'd take a step back. I'm interested to see what kind of deal he gets. And then for me, Swishy, a couple veteran guys. Claude Giroux, do you take a little less to go somewhere and try to win that Stanley Cup? His leadership was unbelievable in Ottawa. Brady and the boys loved him. He's definitely not the player he once was, 5-on-5, but he can still work the half wall. And I'm sure he wants to win that Stanley Cup. And then another guy for me on this list is Brent Burns. He's made a shit ton of money. Do you take less and go to a team that you're a 5-6? I wrote down the Edmonton Oilers. I wrote down the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, do you just take less, Burnsy? Go in there, be a 5-6 that plays the second unit power play if they need a guy. So those are some veteran guys I'm looking at, Swishy, to maybe take a little bit less to go to a situation where you're going to win. And then I want to ask you about Patty Kane's Showtime. I just assumed he was going to stay in Detroit. What are your thoughts on Showtime?
Well, if there's one thing I know about Showtime is just that. He is Showtime. So where does he sign, Oates? Because he strikes me as a guy that only plays in big markets. He strikes me as a guy, up until this point, has only played for original 6 franchises. So where does Patty Kane go? Where does Patty Kane want to go? Does he want to stay in Detroit and take $3 million and see where this team goes? And they're kind of on the outside looking in, or are they a playoff team? They're not really a contender. They're more of a pretender. Or does he want to go somewhere else and venture out and maybe take a 1-year deal at $1-2 million with some playing bonuses? I don't know what he wants to do. It seems like it's been pretty quiet on that front. I really hope he goes to a contender, though. He gets somewhere where just gets Showtime into the playoffs, man. Yeah. Let him do his thing. Let him dance out there, because that's where he belongs. Playing hockey past April.
Yeah.
Like, where does he go?
You know what? And listen, he obviously only plays for original 6 teams with sick uniforms, right? Hawks, Rangers, Red Wings, maybe three of the top, definitely 10 in the league, top 5 in the league uniform-wise. Once again, I'm going to our buddy John Cooper in South Florida. Like, if I'm Patty Kane, that's got to be a team that intrigues me. Right now you look at their second line of Nick Paul, Brandon Hagel, and Connor Geekie. I like this Connor Geekie kid. He's old school. I don't love his tinted visor, but other than that, I like his game. His boots need some work. He can work on that. But if you're Patty Kane and you're looking at a team where, like you said, you can take a 1-year deal for whatever, $2 million with some incentives or whatever, why not the Tampa Bay Lightning, where you could jump in there, play on the second line, play on the first unit power play with Kucherov, Point, and Gunsel? I don't know. To me, that's a team that I think would be a good fit, and I'm biased because I love Coop. But do you see any fit there for him in Tampa? Just imagine him and Kucherov on the same power play.
I know. Like Tampa Bay, is it Vegas?
Vegas is another great call, dude.
Because realistically, Obes, he's probably a second or a third liner power play one guy right now, right?
Yes.
You don't want him playing 18 to 20 minutes.
No, you don't.
Playing 13 to 15 and power play one. So where does he slot in there? Vegas, to me, seems like a spot where take less, go play on that number one unit. They could use a left shot on that half wall. You got to look at just different personnel and different just places where you could kind of insert yourself and still get those minutes on that, in those reps on a really good power play. So Vegas kind of, I don't know, that jumped out on me a little bit.
Love it. That's a great fit. And then I'm going to say he's going to have to pay a lot of tax coming out here, too. Another team, the LA Kings, a team that could use some scoring.
Yeah.
Showtime would look unbelievable in the black-silver with now they got the old Gretzky logo there. Those uniforms are snazzy. Maybe LA's another team where you can come in and help them get over the hump. And they need to score more goals, right? Every year we see them play against Edmonton Oilers the last 4 years. They need to score goals. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Swishy, I can't wait till Tuesday to break down all the contracts for it with you. Mitch Marner, I cannot wait to see what this guy decides to do. So good luck to all those boys. Get it while you can, eh, Swishy? Get it while you can.
Yeah, I mean, whatever term, I would be, even if I was Mitch Marner, I know the cap's going up. Hockey's a contact sport. It's a dangerous game. I'd be getting in the house with as much scratch as I could, and then just, you know what, I can just kick my feet up and check my Chase Bank app every 2 weeks. I'd be like, fella, I'm doing all right, but, to each their own.
Yeah, and especially Mitch Marner, guys undersized. I know it's not as physical as it once was, but, like, I get it. It's got to be a little tempting that the cap's going to go up to, in 2027-28, Swishy, they're saying it's going to be $113 million. So I could see that'd be a little intriguing to you and your agent being like, fuck, if I sign a 2-year deal and then I come out of this, I can. But why not just take your 8 years or 7 years and get it taken care of?
I mean, if I was playing basketball, I think I would have a different viewpoint on things.
Yeah.
You're playing hockey, brother. I mean, to me, at that point, if I could sign a 7 or an 8 year deal at right around $14 million or just under, or versus wait a couple years and then sign for 16 or 17, I don't know, man. Like, at that point, it's,
hey, you're rich.
You could still load up the private berth.
You're rich.
Yeah.
You can still live in a Discovery Project wherever you want. You're having a good time.
Yeah.
You're gonna be all right. So good luck to all those boys. Swishy, after all these guys sign a big contract, they're gonna want to enjoy an ice cold Labatt Blue. So let's get this guy a beer, fella.
Brought to you by Labatt, fella. With Labatt, you can buy beer and get gear. Go to their website, snap a photo of your receipt, and upload it to gain points towards exclusive merch. Any size, any product, anywhere you're buying Labatt. Folks, sign up at rewards.labattusa.com. Always close to Chippewa Street, baby.
Ah, that's so good. Sounds of summer, as I say. Open up an ice cold Labatt Blue and just hear that sounds of summer. If you're on the lake back home or upstate New York or in the great state of Wisconsin, like my boy Jay Swish is from, or if you're in Lake Havasu, get yourself a Blue Light. If you're in a Duffy boat ride in Newport, get yourself a Blue Light. Enjoy it. Drink responsibly. Swishy, we're only dishing one today. This is all you. This was a great call by you. Get this guy Labatt Blue. Who we dishing to, fella?
Yeah, and we're going to the Lone Star State and the pride of Victoria, British Columbia, Jamie Benn. Jamie Benn, the captain. He's been the captain forever there. That sick style tape job, tucks the socks over both sides. Oops, just a good guy, right? A lot of these guys are looking for a lot of money. They're looking to get paid. Tavares in Toronto, we touched on Tuesday. Hey, is that offer a little disrespectful? I don't know. You know what Jamie Benn says? I'll take a 1-year deal, Jimmy Neal. You know what? You've been paying me pretty good for the last 8 years at 9.5. I'll take 1 year at 1 banana. Yeah, there's some playing bonuses in there, but sure. Let's get me under the cap. Let's add some other guys if needed. So I just thought, Jamie Benn, good guy alert. Get this guy at icy cold, the bat blue, because it's not about money at this point for him. He wants to stay. He wants to be a part of this team. So hell of a move by the captain. Obes, that's leadership. What a good guy he is. I would love to play for that guy as my captain.
100%. We look around at every team each year, the playoffs start, right? There's always a couple guys. Like Jamie Benn's always a guy I'm like, man, he deserves a cup. Still out there, no visor on. Obviously slowing down a little bit, but now he doesn't have the burden of making, what was he making? 8.5 or whatever it was. To me, this is a great point of a guy being like, maybe the grass isn't always greener, right? Dallas is a great city with a great organization. Here I go again back to no state tax, but listen, he's played there his whole career. They have some unfinished business. They still don't have a head coach still, correct?
They do not have a head coach.
They still do not have a head coach, which maybe he's in on those conversations, but that would maybe be the one little, I thought he was done there. I honestly thought he was going to move on. Good for him to take a big-time hometown discount. Like you said, there's some incentives there, but that's a guy that's been a captain of a team, loves his city, some unfinished business. So to Jamie Benn, get yourself a bat blue, fella. And like Swishy said, you got lots of money in the bank. So, but when he gets that first paycheck this year, Swishy's going to look at it and go, Jesus, it's not what it used to be.
No, I'll throw this on red. This is just to pay for my chew and my cable bill this year. But, Obes, don't you think he looked at a guy like Steven Stamkos and in a similar position, right? I mean, Stammer won, but captain of the team, longest tenured player, and sometimes the grass isn't always greener.
Yeah.
And I think he was probably looking at that as an example of, you're the captain of the team. This is all you know. And I want to stay. Let's make it work. Money, it's not about money at this point.
Yeah. No, and like you said, if he's made enough to live a nice, long life, his kids are taken care of. So, yeah, I like the fact that he stayed there. And I'm sure if you ask Stammer and Julian Breezeball and Coop, they both wish that they would have figured something out there in Tampa. But it is what it is. Moving on here, boys. Back up the Brinks truck. Beep, beep, beep. Back it up here. Another guy who's made a shit ton of money over his career. A guy that I still have nightmares about come playoff time. The Madhouse on Madison. Jonathan Toews, it's not official July 1st, but I think it's basically a done deal. 1 year, 2 bananas. Hasn't played in a year, right, Swishy, or longer than that?
No, longer than that, almost 2.5, I think.
Wow, 2.5. I did not know it was that long. That's a long time to be out of the National League. What are your thoughts on this? The hometown boy coming back to the chin of Winnipeg, as you would say.
Yeah, so his last game was 2022-2023. He played 53 games that year. Coming back home, he's been on a recovery tour. He's been living down here in Scottsdale. There's sun down here. He's been in Costa Rica. There's also sun there. I know he's from Winnipeg, but at the same time, he hasn't lived in Winnipeg in over 20 years.
Yeah, there's a reason, right?
Pack the parka, grab the Canada Goose, the Montclair, whatever you got, the red light therapy kit, because the dog days, they don't change up there. So I just hope that he's mentally ready to go. Yeah, there's going to be that hometown buzz of the first game of the season. You can ride that into Christmas. It'll be cozy. You're drinking whiskey. But Obi, when February hits in March, I just hope old Johnny Toews is like, fuck, this is the right decision. I hope he's not wish he was signed in like Anaheim or something. You know what I mean?
Or he's thinking like, why did I even come back? I should just be in the Bahamas, living at Baker's Bay, or down in Florida, down in Naples, or over in West Palm where the rich people are. Yeah, that's like, we'll see. That's a long time to be out. I do think from a team perspective, obviously has the reigning MVP, Vezina, Hollaback in between the pipes. They have a great captain in Adam Lowry who, is coming off hip surgery. We'll see how it goes. I think he looks at this team as, I can come in there with some championship DNA and maybe be the difference to help this team get over the hump. But the one thing that worries me, and listen, like I said, Toews gave me nightmares. He was a fucking playoff machine. But when I played against Jonathan Toews, speed was never one of the things that really concerned you, Swish. You're not like, oh, hey, he's going to take me wide. He's going to beat me in a foot race here. The game is a lot faster than it was 2.5 years ago. Can he get out there and keep up? The rules have changed. Everything has changed. So I'm sure he's in great shape. I'm sure he's going to come in fired up. But as you know, Swishy, for hockey players, you get 2 days off. It feels like 2 years. Not playing for 2.5 years. His foot speed is my biggest concern if he can keep up in the National League nowadays.
Yeah, that's a great point. When the reports came out and it said he was going to sign with Winnipeg, I threw it on a tweet, and my over-under I set just to create a discussion was 37.5 points. Would you take the over or under on that if he plays a full season?
If he plays 82? I'm going to say if he plays 82, he's going to get, how many points did Sam Bennett have this year? 45 or something like that?
49.
49, which is a little light, but he didn't play all the games. I'm going to say if Toews plays 82 games, he's going to be right around 50 points.
Yep. So his last full season, 21-22, 12 goals, 25 assists on a depleted Chicago Blackhawks team, 37 points. So,
okay, 50's high then.
Yep. That's why I think, it's I think if he gets over 40, that's a great season.
No, you're right. And that's depending what his roles are. Like, is he just going to be a fourth line center that's good on face-off and kills penalties and plays a little bit of power play? Just sees what kind of role he's going to be in, right? Like, nobody has any idea if it's Jonathan Toews, that year. I mean, what was his numbers the year before that? Do you have him up there? Because he was battling some stuff that year, right?
I mean, his last 2 years, his last year, 53 games, 31 points, and then 71 games, 37.
Wow.
19-20, he had 60 points. So that was like his last pretty good point per game season.
Yeah. So I think you got to. I might take the under on that actually. What did you have it at? 37 and a hook.
Yeah. I
might take the under on that. And he's just, more importantly, what's his face-off percentage going to be? How good is Winnipeg's PK going to be? Like, I think that's going to be his role, and he's going to probably embrace it. And if he does surprise people and has a little time machine back in Winnipeg and can turn the clocks back, maybe he does put up some more numbers. But for him, it's more about leadership, being good in the face-off circle, giving them depth. But I think you're right there. DraftKings Sportsbook 37. That's readily over and under.
Yeah, I mean, he's here in Scottsdale, so let's get Richardson over at the ice and get him in the dots.
Just start, or just get Richie to bag him.
Yeah, Richardson over and back.
So I was playing golf with Teddy yesterday, and I'm like, Teddy, we do these curfew calls, and it was, me, Swish, and Richie, and I asked him, like, what's the one thing you're worried about, or you got to get ready before camp? And, for me, it was losing weight and get the body fat down. Like, what would you do? And Richie just said, I would rent the ice by myself and bag myself. And Teddy's like, what? I'm like, could you imagine doing that? He's like, fuck no. I'm like, that's how Richie was wired, though. Like, I would never bag myself, rent the ice and bag. I'd never. I may go for an extra run or ride the bike, but I would never go out there and rinse myself like that.
Yeah, well, the Richie's built different, baby. That's little Texas in him.
That is little Texas in him. We got some news from the Utah Mammoth Hockey Club. Ryan Smith, Bill Armstrong, and Kevin Adamson made a trade. Swishy, help me out with the guy's name in Buffalo, fella.
JJ Peterka.
JJ Peterka for Jason Doan and Michael Kesselring. Peterka gets a 5 years, $38.5 million, $7.7 million deal. Josh Doan and Kesselring. Listen, I like this Kesselring's game. I got to know his dad a little bit at the Wasted Management. His dad's a beauty. I thought Kesselring did a great job last year of when Jersey went down and Marino went down. He took advantage of his opportunity. He started playing a top four role. I do think he can turn into a legit top four defenseman. I don't know if that's on a Stanley Cup winning team or not. I think on a championship team, he's a 4, 5, or 6. And for Jason Doan, I do think there's lots of upside. So we'll see how that plays out for those boys in Buffalo. But from the Utah Mammoth perspective, Nicky Schmaltz and the boys, Clayton Keller, how do you like this move?
I like it, Obi. I mean, I think Josh Doan's going to be a great player. I think he's a sneaky 20-goal scorer, 20-20 type of guy. Kesselring, obviously, you've seen flashes of what he can do. He's a big right shot that can skate. I think he just has to learn the nuances of the game a little bit. But that will come playing more games in the National Hockey League. It's hard to defend, Obes, as you know, at the NHL level. So Buffalo, they get two pretty good players, but I love this Peterka's game. I think he's got an excellent shot off the half wall. I think he's a really big threat. A guy that at just 23 years old, he's a kid, scored 28 goals and 27 respectively with Buffalo over the course of the last two seasons. So when I look at that, my only worry for Utah, Obi, is you add another undersized winger. Okay, so if you're Billy Strongarm and you're that management, your coach, the coaching staff there, Andre Turgeon, I'd be looking to beef up the middle of the ice. I need a big centerman that can slot in and play 2C behind Logan Cooley, and then I'm going to need a little bit more muck on my bottom six. McBain obviously is there. Krause, can he get back to form? But there's another piece there in Matias Maccelli. I'd be looking to deal him. I don't know his exact value right now because he had an off season, but a former 60-point guy. Can we get something to beef up this lineup a little bit around these guys? Because, yes, they do have a lot of skill, but as you know, Obi, Nicky Schmaltz, Clayton Keller, Gunther, they're not the biggest guy. Now you add Peterka in there. I need a little more bite if this team is going to be legit.
Yeah, I would agree on that. And just to wrap up Kesselring, he's got lots of upside, right? Like you said, he's just a big right-handed defenseman. Makes a good first pass, and like you said, the more ice time he's now going to get. He took such good strides, like I was saying, getting more ice time this year. And you know, Swishy, as a defenseman, if you're playing 5-6, getting spotted in, you're nervous, you want to make mistakes. Guys are out of the lineup, you know you're going to get a regular shift. That's when you can really take the next step. So I think this is going to be a good pickup for Buff. And when I look at the Utah Mammoth, second line center is top of the list for, what'd you call him, Billy Strongarm?
Yeah, Billy Strongarm.
Billy Strongarm. Listen, John Tavares, I know that's not the biggest guy with the most bite. I don't know if they want to bring him in, or I'm looking at a guy like Michael Granlund. And I know he's not the biggest guy either, Swishy, but the way he can compete, he's a Finn, he plays hard. But when I look at their lineup, second line center has got to be their top priority heading into, UFA here on July 1.
Yeah, and I think Tavares fits the mold of Utah as well, just in terms of off the ice. He's not a guy that's exactly looking to snap it around, right?
He certainly does.
Right? He's got the kombucha tap at his lake house in Muskoka. He's going to be staying off the piss. So I think that if you threw him a heavier bag with a little bit of turn, maybe he would think about leaving Toronto if the price was right. But they do need a 2C.
They do need
really do.
And I think it's, when you have an owner like Ryan Smith, I think it's an easier sell to get a guy like Tavares in there. And like you said, he's a family guy. Checks all the boxes there to live in Utah and stuff like that. So we will see. And last but not least, Evander Kane is going home to the Lower Mainland with the Vancouver Canucks. Listen, you know how proud I am to be a Canucks alumni, and what happened last year put a bitter taste in my mouth. I'm still not over trading JT Miller. I'm still not over our boy, the real Rocket Talk, having to leave town. They were building something so great there. Listen, it's a full rebuild or retool, because when you have Quinn Hughes, I guess it's not a rebuild. But I got no problem bringing in Evander Kane, right? They get some toughness, some much-needed toughness. And I don't know Evander, and obviously there's been some history of him being a prick, but he gains nothing for coming into Vancouver and being an asshole. Like, he's going to come in there, try to be a good guy, get an opportunity to play. Maybe he can wake up Pedersen. I don't know. It's just, I think it's a low risk, high reward for the Canucks. Now, people in Vancouver are not thrilled that they took all the 5 bananas and didn't have Edmonton retain any of it, because I guess $5 million nowadays is probably a little high for Kane. Wouldn't you say, Swishy?
Yeah, and I mean, you're a team in Vancouver, and you're trying everything right now. We lost our coach. We had to trade away JT Miller because maybe one guy went to HR and said it's this way or the highway. So the thing with Kane is he gets a bad rap. But I actually talked to Troy Stetcher today. I had him on my show, Live in 5, Obes, and he was saying that Kane is actually a really good teammate. Like, he was well liked in that locker room.
Yeah,
the guys liked him. I think he's made a lot of strides personally in terms of who he is and the character he tries to bring. And almost like you're on a image redemption tour. So if that can hold up and he can be that guy he was in Edmonton and be that guy in the locker room that the fellas liked, I think it works. Now, who's to say when shit hits the fan, he was playing on a really good team, right? And now you go into Vancouver, you go into the situation where it's not perfect. Hopefully he can come in and be a leader. He's back home and kind of show these guys, these are some different things I learned at Edmonton, bring them over to Vancouver, the winning ways. Time will tell, Obes, but I just think if you're Rutherford and Alvin, you got to try anything at this point.
Yeah, no, you do, and they needed some size desperately. Fuck, were they soft last year after they got rid of JT Miller. Like, I'm sure some nice talks was on that bench going, look at my squad. Are you kidding me? And that's great intel by you. Evander Kane, I assumed he was getting to be a better guy, right? When we're younger, we all make mistakes and this and that. And listen, I used to hate Evander Kane. I wanted to kill him on the ice. But for him to be in Edmonton the last, whatever it's been, 2 or 3, 4 years, whatever it's been, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, playing with the best player in the world, playing with another top 5 player in the world, I'm sure you learned a lot of things to do that he can bring into that Vancouver dressing room. And having Adam Foote as their head coach, a no bullshit, fucking rugged, type of defenseman, I think that's going to help, right? Like, Footy's not going to take his shit, right? If he's being a prick, Footy will call him in and light him up, I'm sure. So I think it's going to be a good fit for him in Vancouver. Anytime you get to play at home, good on him. You talk about another second-line center. This team needs another second-line center. I might as well be Michael Granlund's fucking agent. Michael Granlund would be another great fit on this team here. That Michael Granlund's going to get a nice... There's a lot of teams that needed 2 center, right, fella?
Oh, I know the St. Louis Blues are going full World Series of Poker. Johnny Chan, they're going all in on Mikael Granlund. Like, hey, that's their guy. They were floating around Kyrou, obviously with Peterka. He's a winger, but they were looking maybe to make a move there. But I'm hearing rumblings. This guy, he's a wanted man, Obi. And when you're a wanted man like that, your price just gets jacked up. It's like who gets too horny on July 1 and it's all of a sudden it's a quick move and you sign that paper before the ink dries and it's like, ooh, okay, I got a really big payday.
Yeah, it's got to be nice. You're like, wow, you're looking at it, you're like, that's a lot of zeros. St. Louis, another great, and I love Braden Shen, but you bring in Mikael Granlund, you go Thomas, Granlund, bump Schenner down to your 3rd-line center. Sundqvist is your 4th-line center. You can move Schenner around. Obviously, he can play the wing a little bit if you have to, too, but 2nd-line center depth is so important. So if Michael Granlund and his agent, keep your phone on because she's going to be buzzing. Moving on here, Swishy, my man. It is the Sizzle Missin Curfew Dog of the Week, fella.
Fellas, it's a Sizzle Dog of the Week. Fellas, we don't mess around when it comes to what we put in our bodies, and neither does Sizzle Brands. Ticker symbol Sizzle. They're behind Quench and Spoken. 2 game-changing drink lines that are cleaning up the shelves and kicking sugar to the curb. Sizzle's all about health, wealth, and taste. Building better for your Sizzle brands that kids love and parents trust. Whether you're hydrating post-shift or packing the fridge for your family, it's time to quench with Sizzle. Sizzle. Get in the game. And Obi...
Gotta hydrate.
You gotta hydrate, and you gotta just keep your mouth full like that ad read with Sizzle. But my Sizzle... Dog of the Week, fella, I'm going over to the goddamn fucking jungle. I'm going to the Abbotsford Canucks. These guys, they played about a week and a half past the NHL season. I thought this, if it went 7 games with the Abbotsford Canucks and the Charlotte Checkers, I thought maybe they could be playing till Labor Day. But the Abby Canucks, the baby Canucks, they grinded it out in the chin of the Queen City over there at the Bojangles Coliseum. Wrapped it up in Game 6 on June 23rd or 24th, whatever the hell it was. So I just wanted to give those guys a shout-out. I mean, talk about playing for the love of the game. You feel for the Charlotte Checkers. I mean, they play all the way to that time. They don't get it done. The baby brother club, the JV club of the Florida Panthers. So there was a chance that they won both the Panthers, but the Abby Canucks, Opes, Calder Cup champions, put it in the fucking trophy case, fella. Good on those boys.
Yeah.
Goal.
Yeah.
Best league in the world, man.
Hey, listen, it is. And those guys are dogs. And the fact that they play longer than the Stanley Cup is a joke. I used to say this. The Calder Cup should be done by like the end of the 2nd round of the NHL. That way, you guys win your Calder, and then you could bring all your guys up and have them experience. If your teams are still in, they can come up and experience the conference finals and the finals with these guys. Like the fact that went longer than the Stanley Cup, to me, is a joke. Abbotsford, that's where I met our boy Troy G. Ward, and I saw the rink in Abbotsford, and it was fucking rocking. And when I was there, it was a Calgary Flames farm team, right? So nobody gave a fuck about us. But I remember we came out there for playoffs against Grand Rapids. I don't know if there was 500 people in the building, Swishy. So I text Troy G. Ward. I go, fella, the barn wasn't rocking like this when we were trying to take out the old Grand Rapids Griffins. But smartest decision they did was moving their farm team there. Good on those boys. Manny Malhotra played against Manny, was his teammate for a bit. Congrats to him. Ryan Johnson is the GM of that team, and Johnny is one of my favorite teammates ever. Just absolutely jacked. All he would drink was Guinness. Block shots with his face. I remember one day in the playoffs, he blocked a shot. His pinky finger was like, I don't even know how it got there, Swishy. It was literally, it was one of the grossest things I've ever seen. So congrats to those boys. Enjoy that Calder Cup. Take that Calder Cup right to downtown Vancouver too, right? Don't just stay in Abbotsford. Get down to Yaletown with that.
Yeah, take that thing wherever you want. Banner Room. You can take it to You can take it to the Roxy.
Brandy's. Take it to Brandy's.
People might. I mean, at least people in Canada will recognize it too. They'll know that you won the jungle. I mean, some of these cities in the AHL, they'd be looking at you like, "Did you just take your men's league trophy to here?" But at least there, I think they'll get recognized. Some of those guys, obviously, up and down all season. They had a hell of a team. Sammy Blais was on that team.
Saw that.
Now he's got a Stanley Cup as well as a Calder Cup. So yeah, I just want to give those guys some clicks, man, and keep mucking. We know how hard that league is. So good on them.
Yeah, well said. And I still think Sammy Blais can play in the NHL. I mean, his physicality. So hopefully he fought his way back. So good on those boys. I hope to have a nice bender there. And like I said, get that Calder Cup right down into Yaletown. Last but not least here, before we get to our guest, it's the Kits Eyewear Dish of the Year. Dish of the Year, fellas. This segment is brought to you by Kits Eye Care. You've seen the crew rocking those slick frames. Now it's your turn to level up your look. Kits is hooking up Missin Curfew listeners with an unreal deal. Your first pair of prescription glasses, absolutely free, fellas. Just hit up kits.com, use code curfew at checkout, or if you're looking for those progressive lenses, take $38 off your first pair. Clean look, clean vision. Don't sleep on these boys. Kits has you covered. Swishy, we talked it over. We had a couple that we were going to look at, this and that, and you made a great point. You said Obes, McDavid's pass to Draisaitl in the Stanley Cup final was the best pass my chin has ever seen live. So we're going to go back to that one. McDavid pull and drag around Ekblad, who's a pretty good defenseman, about to get paid. Dusts it off, slides it back door to Draisaitl. We were there. It is the Kits Eyewear Dish of the Year. They had so many great plays this year at Edmonton, but Swishy, that one live was unbelievable. McDavid, toe drag Ekly. He has his kits on, backdoor to Draisaitl. Swish, man, that is the Dish of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, and where we were sitting, Obi, we were positioned so well in the corner on that end zone, and we were looking right across from McDavid, and we were actually sitting on Draisaitl's one-timer side, about 15 rows up, literally parallel with the dot. So the vision and the Kits Eyewear we even had just to see that goal sitting there pinned over at Rogers' place, it was unbelievable. Obes, I'm not kidding you. We all looked at each other, me, you, and Uppy, and we said the same thing at the same time. That was the best pass we've ever seen live. Best sequence we ever seen live. Look, I've seen guys get dangled. I've seen sick little slip-through plays through triangles and then find a guy no-look backdoor. But the speed and the rate that McDavid was coming downhill with was insane. And just the all-in-one motion to get around Ekblad a little, hey, how you doing, fella, slipperoo. And then just to know out of the corner of his eye to put that pass right in the wheelhouse of Leon Draisaitl. Man, that was unbelievable. That was poetic.
Yeah.
It was so sick. So I'm glad we went with that for the Kits Eyewear Dish of the Year because, man, that was so sick. Our Selly was unbelievable. We were just fucking,
You had that nice tie jacket on. We were just buckled. That was a fun trip. Take me back there. That was fun. And listen, another sick dish he had was, I believe it was game 1 or 2 against Vegas, when the puck spit out, the neutral zone, and he fucking grabs it and goes by Ikes and slides it over to Draisaitl for that game winner. That was another sick dish. That could have been the Kits Eyewear Dish of the Year, but that was unbelievable. Those two boys together are electric. Speaking of electric, friend of the show, Gotta have him on every year. Soon to be captain, in my opinion, of the Calgary Flames. Weegsy, baby. MacKenzie Weegar coming at you next. Fellas, welcome back to Missin Curfew. Updog Richie fella. This guy's more than a friend of the show. We got to get him on. I got to get him on every year.
XD partner.
Well, they wouldn't let us be D partners as much as I wanted.
How about roommates?
Roommates, they wouldn't let us be roommates either.
Ride on the bus together?
Yeah, I would make him come back and sit with me, and then we were neighbors and drove to the rink every day, and then I'd make him drive to Austin every night with me after the games. I'd be like, Weeksy, have a bag packed, ready to go. We're leaving Saturday night right after the game, fella. He was using a scratch, so he just had to get a workout in. But MacKenzie Weegar, Weegsy, baby, I had to get you on for your yearly Missin Curfew, buddy. I appreciate it. Good to see you, my man.
Yeah, good. Always good to see you, Obes, Uppy, Rich. Always a pleasure coming on the show. I think this is my third time now, so I hope the fans of the show aren't getting too sick of me yet.
No, they love having you on. And I got your resume up here, rap sheet, whatever you want to call it here. And 550 career games. You've officially passed me. You have more rank than me. So if we were ever on a trip together, whatever, you could sit in the front seat and my fat ass would have to sit in the back. I can't believe, Uppy, that Weezy Baby's got more games than me now.
No, he's be asking you to pack his bags.
Yeah, grab my sticks, Olds. Grab my sticks.
No, it's okay. No, for you, I wouldn't do that. I know I just get a quick right to the jaw, so I'll still keep you at the back of the bus.
Weegsy, how's the offseason been? I do want to touch on the World Championships with you, but how's it been? You guys had a great year in Calgary, but how's your downtime been? You're getting married this summer. A lot of big things happening for you, eh, fella?
Yeah, it's been it was quick there because World Championship starts pretty quick after the season ends. So we flew out to Vienna there pretty quickly after the season, but I've probably been back for about 2.5 weeks now, and just kind of chilling. I'm up at the cottage right now, getting on the boat a little bit, hanging with the dogs, hanging with some family. After this podcast wraps up, there's some family friends coming over for a little dinner too, so the hosting never really stops. But just trying to lay low out here at the cottage and hang out and try to enjoy some sun.
Are you working the grill or what? You're going to be firing up some burgers and dogs or T-bone or steaks? What do you?
You know what? I get so nervous to cook for other people, so we'll see how I do with the grilling. The steak I can do, burgers up high, but it's when the chicken. I might give you some bad chicken if I get on the barbecue cooking some chicken. So
just
if you come over to the cottage, I'll give you steak.
Make sure the shish kebabs stay on a couple extra minutes, before you take the chicken shishkis off.
Buddy, I'll give you a tip right now. Just invest in a nice meat thermometer, fella. You can't fuck it up. You just have a meat thermometer in there.
That's what my girl does.
Right up the arse, and as soon as she hits 160, just pull her off, let her sit for 5 minutes, and then boys have at it.
She brings out the thermometer. I go, I'm a field player. All right, get that thermometer out of here. If you want to cook the fucking food, go ahead and bring out the thermometer. I'm a field player here.
And we know you're a field player.
We know, Obes, yeah.
Then I'll pull.
You can't put this chicken on your backhand, though, so I don't know how.
Yeah. Then she'll throw that thermometer in there, and she'll be like, she's usually 99% of the time right. She's like, see, she's not quite done.
It's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's a barbecue stream. Yeah, it's just like, you don't want to overcook the fucker.
Yeah.
And you want to, especially if you got 6 or 7 breasties on there and you got a big group of people, hey, Rich.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Hey, Weegsy, though, what's like a weekend like at the Weegar residence there on the lake? Like, you got the boys over, the beers in the cooler. Is the boat are we wake surfing? What are we doing over there?
I'll give you a Saturday at the cottage.
Oh boy.
I guess, yeah, if we got the boys up, try to convince Maggie to get as big of a crew as we can up here. Usually that works. Sometimes it doesn't. But say we do, we'll probably try to golf a little bit. There's a couple just go tracks around the cottage here that we can just hack around and enjoy some of the boys' time. And then when we get back, we'll probably just head on the boat. I got a pontoon boat. So we just kind of go out there and chill for a bit. Listen to some tunes, maybe a couple cigars, a couple beers, come back. And then, like I said, try to barbecue for everybody. I usually let some of the guys that like to be in control over all that stuff, take it all over, and then maybe get a little bonfire in at night. As always like to say, we'll try to stay away from the JMO. We don't really condone that stuff by the fire because my buddies might get out of hand a little bit. But other than that, that's basically that's a good Saturday at the beginning of summer. towards the end of summer, it gets a little quieter and a little more chill, get more of the family up here and hang out. But that's a Saturday at the beginning of the summer for weeks.
That's a National League good Canadian lad, Ontario lad up in Ottawa. Hey, Weegsy, I'm a cottage renter. Didn't make enough money to buy a cottage. Should have bought one when I was in the league. Too busy spending all my money at Hyde and One Oak and Hollywood. But as a weekend renter or weekly renter, I always get a ski boat. And I often think if I own a place, like, do you have a pontoon and a ski boat, or do you just have, like, I think you need both. Yeah. Like, you need both because the pontoon or the houseboat is nice just to get out there and fucking get pinned on. And then if you want to go for a rip, you take the ski boat. So do you have two?
No, I don't think I'll get to because I just don't trust myself or any of my buddies on the boat. I don't know why. And the lake that we're on, it's not very big. So if we get the big wakeboard boat out, we'll make an absolute scene. And I'm not trying to wake everybody up. But you know how those wake surfing boats are. They're so loud, and the speakers on some of those systems are insane. My buddy brought one for us just to try out at the couple summers ago just to see if I wanted to buy one, and it just made an absolute scene. So I just like to get out there and be casual. I don't need anything crazy, but maybe down the stretch, maybe in the future I'm saying down the stretch if there's kids or whatever, and whatever, that seems cool. But I don't know. I'm getting a little.
Jesus Christ! You didn't listen to me. I told you two fucking things. You didn't listen. Says a lot about a guy though when he's just got a nice pontoon parked on his dock.
So you got
he likes to booze. Yeah, he's all out there. It's nice. Oh, I know. But
nice.
You get the barbecue, a little canopy, just enough room for fucking 12 of your buddies. Yeah, it says a lot, yo.
So maybe fish a bit, throw some casts out, see what we can catch. Not much, but we'll see.
Catch a buzz. The only thing you're catching is a buzz out there, right? That's all you're catching. Yeah.
Hey, Wigsy, I wanted to ask you, I pulled the trigger and got married last summer and, went through all the stress of planning and all that. And I was pretty hands-on because I want to make sure everything went well. And, I'm just curious, are you pretty involved in the planning, and are you getting a little bit nervous as you get closer? Because I certainly did. You start kind of overthinking it a bit. So give me your take on that.
It's tough to get fully involved just because there's so many questions. And while she was doing everything, I was trying to find, like, she was trying to ask me, flowers and plates and seating and food. And when I was playing, I said, I don't know. I just got to focus on playing McDavid here tomorrow night. Just give me a step.
I got my hands. I'm going to be in the spin cycle here. Fuck.
Yeah. Now that I've gotten back a little bit more involved, we're getting married in Montreal last week. We drove up. I went and did the food tasting and some of the drink tasting, saw the venue a bit more, met the DJ and stuff like that. So a little bit more involved now, I feel like, and it makes me feel better about it, honestly, that I can kind of visualize everything and see everything. But, yeah, a little nerves for sure. I'm not with the speeches and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. Nervous, but more fun nerves. I'm excited for everybody to be together and have some fun. And, it's kind of the next chapter of life, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. But more of the nerves for sure are starting to come along.
It's like Vince Vaughn from Old School. You're still single right now. She's 15 feet away. Like, I'm married. Do I look happy? Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
No, you'll be fine, buddy. Just have some fun.
I'm going to track down that address. You might see the big fella poke his head out there with his. If anyone has something to say, forever hold your peace. You might see the big guy come tumbling out of section 117.
Where's the bar?
Yeah, so we'll get you old fashioned and we'll get you on the dance floor.
No, I'm happy for you, Weegsy. I'll tell you what, this kid's growing up so much. I did a little favor for Weegsy baby during the course of the season. I get home and a little knock on the door, and there's a fucking magnum of Camus and a fucking bouquet of flowers for Mac Miller, which, by the way, she loves you even more. And it's just a nice note from Weegsy. Hey, Holmes, thanks. Appreciate what you did for us. Fucking guy's a pro now.
You taught him well.
Yeah, even though PJ did it all, it's still bad. It's the thought that counts, right?
The big man, DJ, definitely helped out. But you set us up nicely that day, so wanted to give you a little appreciation.
You've come a long way from San Antonio when I took that first piss beside you, as I was saying, Phil. You've come a long way, so...
No, don't worry. That guy still comes out.
Yeah, I know. I know. I love that guy. I hope that guy never goes away. Weegsy, on the World Championships, Updog was emotionally committed to the tournament. He was pulling hard for you boys. Obviously, I think the World Championships for certain people is a good thing. I thought it was great for you, right? You want to be on the Olympic team. I thought going over there was great. Is the tournament too long, though, Weegsy? Like, a guy that's been there now a couple times, do you wish it was maybe a little bit shorter?
Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah.
It's just for the whole thing, right? Because there was a mini little camp in Vienna, and then there was another exhibition game in Budapest, and then you went to Stockholm, and then you play. I mean, I think we played 6 or 7 games before we got into the round robin. So it is a long tournament. You kind of know what you are signing up for. The beginning part's a lot of fun. You kind of meet everybody, go out for dinners, have some fun, and then when you get to Stockholm, you play a few games, and then the family all comes in. But it definitely I just remembered kind of by the end of it, you're definitely like, wow, it feels like I've been in Europe like for a season. It's definitely a long tournament for sure. I do wish, we talked about it while we were there. You wish that you could just kind of get 2 or 3 games maybe out of the way. Like, some of those other teams are getting throttled like 7-1 maybe. Yeah. I don't know how you do it, but those teams are so excited to play Canada, right?
Yeah.
That I don't think they could ever get those games out, but maybe just a couple games and sorting it up a bit.
I just want to obviously having Sid and Nate there was huge for you guys, right? It was huge. Now, did it change the dynamic of the team at all or expectation? Like, World Championships, it's a good opportunity for guys that haven't been there before, who are young, or a guy like you that's auditioning for the Olympic team. Then 87 and the reigning MVP come over there. I know you play with Nate, so maybe you're not the guy to ask, but do you think that changed the dynamic of the team or put more pressure on you guys, I guess?
Well, when Sid comes over, the expectations it obviously goes up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it changed the dynamic because that team was every single guy was unbelievable guy. Like there were not really anybody not coming for dinner like factor. Your boy, he set every dinner up, and I would say there was probably one dinner where we were maybe 6 or 7 guys. Every other night there was a full team dinner that he had to set up. He did a phenomenal job setting all that up. But when 87 and Nate came over, I think everybody was just more excited. We were just like, this is going to be unbelievable. And I don't. That was my first time meeting Sid. He wouldn't even put any more pressure on you. Like he's not that kind of guy. Something voice.
Hey, fella.
Cutie there.
Hey, fella.
But I don't think so. I think just maybe management perspective, they felt maybe more expectation because he came over and they came over. But there was, before those guys came over, our team was absolutely stacked. So there was already expectation for gold just with the team that we had already.
Fuck, I like the sounds of team dinners. Does Hockey Canada pick up the bill or you got to play credit card, what do you call that, roulette or what was the credit card game, or Hockey Canada pick those up? How's that work for the team dinners?
No, the boys picked it up. We went over the cap on that team. We were all over the cap. So there wasn't Hockey Canada. Kyle Dubas paid for one team dinner for us, which is greatly appreciated from him. We had to win a game. He put it up on the board, a little fun money. And we won. So credit to him that he paid for one of the team dinners. But a lot of the boys, I think, wanted to pay for one or two.
He's trying to get some free agents over there about Pittsburgh.
Tampering. Boys, I got this one. Fucking tampering.
I guess let me ask you, bring me into the room there a little bit. Like Macklin celebrating.
Bring him in showers with the boys.
Yeah. Who's got a nice wrench? No.
Who's swinging one around there?
No, just I guess the dynamic, of Sid and Crosby, finally together. They did the Four Nations thing, but that close to maybe an Olympic trip to Italy together. You got Schenner who comes over after a heartbreak loss with Benner. Like just the dynamic in the room. Was there a heartbeat that went through Sid and then Nate, or was some of the younger guys, were they brought in the mix? Like how did that whole leadership group kind of work together? And was it, I guess when times got tough, like how did it go at the end? Like, when times were tough, like what was it like, that dynamics?
Like when we were in Denmark, kind of how was the dynamic?
Well, we want to get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. The dynamic with the leadership group, Nate could be a captain. Sid's the captain. O'Reilly could be a captain. You have Spurgeon, who's a captain. Schenner's a captain. Everybody basically there has an A on their jersey. Konechny has an A. Matheson wears an A. There was so much leadership there that I don't know if we really obviously you lean on, Sid, of course, because he's the best and whatnot. But everybody, I mean, Ori was, he was an unbelievable leader. The dynamic was like, I haven't really thought about it too much until you kind of get asked about it. For me, it was just, maybe we just kind of thought we were just gonna go and kind of roll over everybody in a sense, maybe, but nobody thinks like that. Like Sid wouldn't really make you think. He's just kind of like, "Hey, let's go out and get the next one here." And we got the one in Denmark, and then like it just can unfold like that pretty quickly. But like the whole experience with those guys, I've learned so much just being in the dressing room with just that group for 2.5 weeks, and even though we didn't do nearly as well as we wanted to, I'm sure everybody, at least the younger guys, could get a lot out of that group for that short period of time. Like I still gained a lot of experience from that.
Yeah, it seems to me that group doesn't even need like a head coach. And it seems like everyone's kind of been like, hey, where do you want me to go? Sid, you want me to play in a second line here, or fourth line? Like, and then, yeah, I guess it's like a very unnecessary team that you even need fucking leaders, like a coach for.
Sounds like Factor was the coach to me. Yeah. Sounds like Fact Daddy was leading the charge there to me. That's my kind of coach.
Christian, you got the draw. Let's go here.
Yeah. No, Weeks, I'm just more curious about like what was the best city, experience over there, best country. I know you guys move around a little bit. What was the city that I should check out, or any of us, the listeners?
I mean, Stockholm was great. That was my second time in Budapest. Budapest is a lot of fun. It's kind of, I don't know, there was a couple fun bars. I forgot where we went with the whole team. I'm forgetting it now, but it was really, Ruin Bar it's called. It's kind of grungy a little bit.
Just get ruined.
Everybody together. Yeah, it was a cool vibe. Budapest is a cool city. They're all very different. Like Vienna is kind of German. Like it's more German vibe.
That's a nice city though, eh? Vienna, Weeksy, baby. It's pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I just got there late. I kind of flew in a few days late, so I didn't really get to check it out as much as the other guys did. But from what I saw, it's a beautiful city. After the tournament ended, we went to Amsterdam and Paris, but Amsterdam, I would say that's probably a go-to spot for anybody. Even I was just with the old lady and we had a blast there.
Hey, you got to keep your head up for people on bikes there, eh? Like you're walking around just big out of your mind and they're flying around. Like they're flying. I'm like, slow down.
Couldn't believe it.
Because if you hit me, I told the one guy, if you run into me, we're both going to get stung here, fella. Like, it's going to hurt me, but you're going to end up in that fucking river if you don't slow down a bit. And I'm just cooked, eh? We walk around town like, fucking. But it's a beautiful spot.
Yeah. It's really nice. It's a cool city, the canals and stuff that run through it. And we did a little tour, and the guy told us that they pull 12,000 bikes out of those canals each year. So there's a few people going over there.
I believe it.
I think too.
One too many mushrooms, maybe.
Did you go down and check out the old red light district? Or she's greasy down there, boy, I'll tell you.
No, we didn't get that far.
I made my girl go down one night. I said, let's go check it out. Let's just go out and
check it out.
Yeah, it was.
I wanted to.
It was greasy. No, it
was better 10 years ago.
That's what the guy said. I wish I knew you were going over there, Weeks. You had this captain. What was his name? Fucking not Captain Ron. That's the guy from Manhattan Beach. But anyways, he told me like 20 years ago, the red light district was way better than it is now. Now it's kind of lost its luster.
You still find it if you want.
Yeah.
But they just stand in those windows, though. They're just fucking hanging out right in those windows. You're just kind of walking by. You're like, it's just like, wow, this is 20-year-old always might have had a time, actually, for my kid, 20-year-olds. Weeksy, just to put a wrap on the World Championships, obviously the loss to Denmark. I watched the first period. You guys could have been up about 10 cob in the first. The goalie stood on his head. Listen, it happens in a one-game elimination. We all know that. However, when I heard the news you boys were flying back on the team bird with Denmark, did any of the boys like maybe be like, oh, let's just get our own bird? Or how was that experience? Was it just like, it is what it is, let's jump on with these boys? Or were any of the boys like, maybe we take a train, maybe we get our own bird? Like, well, walk me through that. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. You kind of like, especially because they get treated like the IHF starts treating them like because they're still in the tournament. So they were just basically like Canada's out. Like I'm pretty sure we were lucky to even get on the plane. But I don't know. You don't really. They're so nice, and that even when they beat you, they still just want to meet you anyway. Like Sid would still have to talk to all these guys after the game, and they just want to meet them after they beat them and want to talk to them for hours and whatnot. But it's definitely. I mean, there was another team on there with us too. I think Denmark, maybe the Swiss were on it with us too.
Oh, okay. So it was just the IHF bird. It was just a jump
Just thrown on it.
Okay, it wasn't like jumping on, like, I'm just thinking NHL, like you lose to the Flames and you jump on the Oilers bird after, eh? Like, hey boys, you're good series, fellas. So like, give me a chicken finger there, fuck.
Yeah, sure, why?
Throw me a chicken finger and I'll have a fucking JMO double ice there, fella.
Oh yeah, that would be the craziest experience. It wasn't like that at all, and if it was like that, I'm sure they would have fed Sid still first.
Yeah.
So it was fine. I was just you just can't believe that you're out.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, Denmark beat us. Like what's going on? We're going back to Stockholm. Our families just got there. Then we're like trying to figure out if we want to stay or leave, and it was just it just sucked.
Because that's actually when the tournament feels to you like it's just starting, by the way. It's like when you get to the quarters, you're finally like, okay, now these games are like, whoa, we got to go out and win. That's when the tournament actually feels like it starts.
It's just one game, though. Like, that's the thing, right? We all know hockey's made for 4 to 7. You go in that tournament. I've never played in a tournament like that, but one game.
In their home barn, it was.
Yeah, the barn was rocking. It was some old convention center. They turned into a rink, too, right? Yeah. How was the ice?
Yeah. And the ice was awful.
Yeah, it looked kind of smucky and mucky out there. I'm like, I could make it out there.
It made no sense that we flew there after we came first in the round robin. We had to go there and play them.
Yeah.
It can kind of be Mickey Mouse a little bit, but we should have won either way.
Well, I'll tell you what, besides you guys, obviously, the early exit, you guys represented Canada great. It was a lot of people back home were talking about you guys, obviously, with Sid and Nate and all you boys over there. So anytime you can represent your country, Weegsy, you do a hell of a job. Let's move on to the Calgary Flames, buddy. Listen, you can put me at the top of the list as guys you proved wrong. And, I'm always pulling for you, but heading into the season, I just didn't see how you guys were going to be able to score enough goals to win. And I figured guys would be getting traded out before guys were coming in. Did you know right from training camp that you got a pretty good squad, or when did you start feeling like, hey, fuck everyone else, boys? We're as good as anyone. We can make the playoffs here.
Yeah, it's a great question because at training camp, the expectations after the year before, the expectations really dropped for us, right? If people had us at 31, 32 in the league, they were going for the first overall pick, yada, yada, yada. I think for us, you have your leadership group and your leadership core that you have, and we believed in that core, and I think that we believe in the coaching staff and what Connie's doing. So at the beginning, it was kind of tough to say, but I would say, Thanksgiving time, a little bit before, when you saw, Wolf, Matty Coronado, Connors Dairy, you had a little bit of Martin Pospisil last year. You kind of saw those young guys starting to groom and really come into their own. I think that's when the older leadership group was like, okay, here we go. We got something here. We can kind of build something, with the young guys, older guys, and everybody else kind of around it. And then after that, we were like, we're in this thing, credit to Husk it was a grind of a season. It was like 3-2 games, 1-0 games. Like we had to really,
I loved it.
Grind. Yeah, grind. It was playoff hockey.
I loved it
since game one.
Yeah, I didn't miss many games like the second half. I love the way you guys played, but yeah, it was taxing on you boys for sure.
Yeah. So, I thought, it's funny because I think when you kind of play all that style throughout the year, we wanted to make playoffs so bad because of kind of how we can play that playoff style. We were used to like those close games, maybe a little comeback or, keeping the lead the whole time. But I would say, Wolfie kept us in, stole us a lot of games. You got to have a hot goalie to have a good team like that. So, I don't want to give Wolfie too much the credit. But I know a lot of those other kids in there, and Hubie Naz scored some big goals towards the end. Everybody was contributing. That we were right in it, and it's just going to give us more confidence going into next season.
Wigsy, good teams who grind it out have good greasy fourth liner guys, like the guys that just muck it up, and no one better for you guys this year than that Ryan Lomberg who stuck up for teammates, who fought, who chipped in offensively. What's this guy like in the room? What was he like to have, a guy that wins a cup and comes back, plays for you guys, plays hard, plays the right way? Well, what's he like in the room for you boys?
Oh, he's the best. He's a top teammate I've ever played with. That's another guy who kind of helped us out. Not all the time on the ice. I mean, he's tough and he fights for you, and he's not going to go score you goals and put up the points, but a culture guy, a guy on the bench to keep it positive, a guy, to keep everybody together in the good spirits. And you need a guy like that. He's probably the best glue guy. I mean, I'm sure a lot of those Florida Panthers guys, I know they're doing it again and they still have those guys, but I'm sure a lot of that, they would give a lot of credit to those guys too, like Lomby. But without him, the culture and the identity of the Calgary Flames isn't what the Calgary Flames is like this year. So a lot of credit to him. He's a leader now on the team. And I hope, I know he hasn't signed a long-term deal, or I don't know how that stuff works for, the enforcers and whatnot, but I'd love to have him around for a long time. And I know Connie and the group sees him like that. So I got nothing but great things to say about him.
Might have to check his piss. Guy's jacked.
He's yoked.
Huh?
Is he ever? He's yoked.
He's just ripped. He's
Yeah.
not shy of an
And he
interview
loves
with
it
his shirt
too.
off.
He loves it. He loves it.
Yeah. He loves it. Well, before the game in the dressing room, when the guy comes in, like before you go for the first period of warm up, he's always if he's got it, he always takes his shirt off. But he loves it.
Weeks, just to keep on that kind of the fourth line-ish train here. I worked with some of these guys when I was working for the Flames in the minors, like a guy like Adam Klapka. And his last, I think it was his last 10 games or something, this guy really turned it on and kind of showed his skill. He was going to the net. He was kind of being a little bit of a rat. His improvement, I couldn't believe it towards the end of the season. And just kind of touch on him, like what you think and what his potential is, because you don't get too many 6'7" kind of power forwards anymore.
Yeah. Foffer's the best, the big Newton. He's I think he's just coming into his own a little bit here too. He's kind of realizing what he's got. He forechecks really well. He goes to the greasy areas. He'll fight you. He kind of has it all, and he's got some skill to him. There was a couple of times last year where he's kind of trying to tow you around the blue line, and we're like, "Hey man,
Get her deep.
fight that puck here." But he does have some skill. He works extremely hard in the gym, on the ice. He wants to be a full-time NHL. I think he realizes that he might be better than a fourth line. He might want to keep, climbing, which is what you want. You want him to be ambitious. And I think he's got the potential for that. And he's going to be another big piece for the Flames if they want to, make playoffs and start making a push here. He's going to have to be one of those guys to step up. So another great locker room guy. He's a beauty. We call him Sully. He's got Sully tattooed on his arm from Monsters Inc. He's a funny character. He's a great check. There's not too many bad checks, but another interesting guy that we love having in the locker room. And the potential for him, his ceiling hasn't really hit. It's really high, and I'm looking forward to it.
Not too many bad checks, just stinky checks, eh? Well, pretty good guys just be a little stinky sometimes. Like, you think you showered long enough there? Well, maybe have another rinse on there. Use the soap this time, man. The soap. Try the soap this time. But Weegsy, baby.
In there.
Weezy, baby, I wanted to ask you, I was kind of in the same similar situation when I was in Colorado. We were overachieving, and we didn't know what we were. And our GM made a big trade and brought in Jamie McGinn and Steve Downey and maybe another piece. I love what Connie did halfway through the year, whatever it was, with that Philadelphia trade, bringing in Farabee and Frost, just bringing in a couple National Leaguers to help you guys, make that playoff push and believe in you guys. How much did that trade motivate you, and how fired up were you guys when you came in the rink and seen you made a deal like that?
Yeah, fired up. Another, great thing about Connie is when he sees the team, playing hard and right in the thick of things, is he's one of those guys that played in the NHL, and I think he understands that when he makes a move like that, he's going to get a great reaction out of the team. And I think, I don't know how, he got Farabee and Frosty and how that all went down, but he got another great two locker room guys. I got a text from Tippett and Lotz, after that, who played in Philly, being like, you're getting two of our, great guys from Philly. We're not going to be the same without those guys. So it was great to hear that. I think they both fit that sort of age group that they're kind of talking about, that Connie, the core age that they're talking about. So it's fitting well. Those two guys are great. They're going to be great players. We wanted them just to kind of come in and be comfortable and be themselves right when they got there. And I think, we did a great job at that. So another two guys. I know Frosty's got to resign. Hopefully we can get that done. And, Joel's got a few more years left. So, great on Connie to get those guys in, but we're super, super happy to get two great guys as well.
Yeah, Weegs, I'm just shifting a little bit to how's that rink coming? I think we all know it's long overdue for that Saddle Dome to close the doors on that. But what's going on over there? I haven't been there in about a year now, and they were just breaking ground when I kind of left the Flames. But how's it going?
The house that Weegar built. The house that Weegar built, eh? Weegsy baby got that fucking. You got that deal over the line.
Yeah, you took a deal so they could finally get there.
Say, hey, we need a new barn here. I need a lounge so I can lay down, for fuck's sakes. I need a new rink.
Yeah. It's looking good. They're doing a good job. They're moving pretty quick. It's hard to tell. I know the outline is absolutely massive. It's going to be huge. I saw the floor plans or whatever you want to call it. Everything looks top tier. You're getting everything. You guys have been to Edmonton's rink. It's going to be, just as great as that. It's going to look. I think the format is like Little Caesars in Detroit, which is an absolute great rink. Mm-hmm. But it's coming along, Rich. I hope it's always comes a little sooner than later that I don't have to, play my last 2 years in the rink. I can get some more years in there, but I know when that rink, comes about, it's gonna be rocking in there, and the Flames will be in playoffs at that time, and so it's gonna be fun.
I believe the Dome being like, boys, grab a shovel. Hey, fuck lunch here. Grab a shovel, boys. Let's help these. What do you need, boys? Because that Saddle Dome is, I don't care what anyone says.
Give your per diem back. Give us a couple extra shovels in here.
There's tough mornings in that Saddle Dome, dog. No, tough mornings, bro.
But the fans are incredible. And what Edmonton's built was, like Obi and I were just up, last week for game 1 and 2. And Edmonton's
drunk as a skunk.
The old barn, Northlands Coliseum, was just as stinky as the Saddle Dome.
But Rexall hated that barn too.
But it had character. But the fans need something new, like pisser lines, for example. Me and Obes got stuck in that Saddle Dome pisser line. It must have been 45 minutes. We missed the whole period.
Yeah, we had to pull up the alumni card. I'm like, fellow alumni, let me go downstairs. I'm going to piss my pants here.
We thought we were in the line to get in Cowboys at Stamp.
Yeah, I'm like, is there chicks in there, or are you guys just pissing?
No, but I mean, the fans deserve it, man. It's all about what the fans deserve, and you guys have poured so much, heart and soul into the team for so long.
Yeah, and let me just tag that. And for UFAs, right, guys that want to come to Calgary, and it's a great city with great fans, and you got a good team, and now you add a new rink. It's easier for Connie, Weeksy baby, to get guys to sign 8-7-year deals.
I think. It's a great city. Rich played there. It's cool. It can get cold there. I've said nothing but great things. You got, Banff there. You got unbelievable fan base. There's great spots in the city to live. The boys are close. You don't have to sit in traffic for a long time. I've said this all the time. I just think that once that new rink comes in, it's just gonna enhance that city so much more, and it's gonna be great for like Uppy said, for the fans and for the city, for the team, the organization, UFAs. Guys, the draft picks, hopefully you don't get a kid out of college that doesn't want to come and sign with you. They want to be there. So I think it's just nothing but good things can come from that arena.
Yeah. And then you don't have to, I don't know if you guys ever crossed that catwalk up there, and it's the scariest thing ever up there. Holy fuck.
Get vertigo up there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I went up there once and never went back up. And I was scratched a lot many more times, but I was like, I ain't going back up there. Fuck that.
No thanks.
Hey, Weeks, just to touch on the season last year, obviously, I was one of the guys that probably didn't have you making the playoffs, and you guys really exceeded my expectations. But, going into this year, what are you guys thinking? What's your goals? I know Hoskwell, what's your expectations now that you were so close to getting the playoffs?
Well, it's definitely playoffs. Expectations has to be playoffs this year. We know our division's tough. You got, LA and Edmonton. But I guess you also have Anaheim now that's, getting better. Utah. It's a very tough division, I think, especially for, that, you're going to have Edmonton and Vegas and up at the top probably. But for the last two spots, you have Vancouver. It's a dogfight for those spots. And it's going to be a dogfight next year. But I think we have belief, we have the culture and identity. We have the coach, we have, the GM, we have the organization that's, giving us the A1, we're getting allowed to stay over, in cities, we're getting better food. They're doing everything they possibly can to, get us better, take us to the next level. And I think now it's on us as players to, get us to playoffs and have the confidence that we can get there. When we can get there, not only are we just happy to be there, let's make some damage here. Let's see what we can do and, keep building off of it. So I think that the expectation for our team is high. I want it to be higher. I think that makes us play better and see it, under pressure, what we can do. It just goes to show, what Husk has kind of built in the last 2 years. He's done a great job, and now in the third year here, we play hard and we get into playoffs and make some damage. Let's go here. It's time. It's been 3 years that I haven't made playoffs in Calgary, and at the end of the day, you're sick of it. I don't think we're all, we're happy to be in the spot we are. So I think it's time that we make playoffs here.
Yeah, you guys, everything Richie said there, you guys had a great year. I mean, you tied St. Louis on points. You lost on the tiebreaker. Yeah. I think you've put Connie in a situation where, July 1st is right around the corner here. And for your sake and the Flames fans, I hope he's aggressive. I'm sure you think the same way, but you'll be tuned in July 1st seeing what Connie's doing, I'm assuming, right, my man?
Yeah, it can be an exciting time for our team. There's going to be some good UFAs out there. I've spoke to Connie. I know the leadership guys that spoke to Connie at the end of the year. He's very transparent with his communication. He wants, the team to get better. I think he's come out and said that, if there's a guy that we can get that's worth a lot of money at the right deal with the right years, he wants to get him, which is exciting to hear. But I think at the end of the day, you want to go into those, July 1st, getting excited, but you don't also want to, if they don't do anything, then, I don't want to get too upset about it because we still got a great team. And, I believe in the team that we have, but if we do, then it gives us more pressure as players to do better for them and get in the playoffs. So, I know they've got a smart group up there. He just hired, Peter as the assistant GM, who was, him, Richie, well. I think he's going to add great up top. So I'm excited. Hopefully they make a splash here at the deadline, but I guess we'll have to see.
Missed out on another job, eh? Up so you can get that assistant gig, eh? Fuck, eh? Phone's on here. It doesn't seem to be ringing, but
you're an alumni there.
I'm not. I don't even think they clarify me as alumni, bro. I don't think so. No. Time, it's not even games played. It's
Hero Brian.
No.
Too much in Calgary.
No, you shouldn't, nor should you, fella.
That might be a good thing, actually.
Yeah. Although I used to love going there on the road. But anyways, we're getting off topic here. A couple more for me, Weegsy. We'll let you get back on the lake. If you can't tone it, tan it, fella, eh? Hubie, you're chirping me about how I say his name. I'm not going to try to say his name. But Hubie, in all seriousness, we all love him here. I respect how much he's changed his game. Listen, he went in there, signed the big ticket, took it on the chin, and continued to move forward and turn himself into more of a power straight line guy. I know you love him, but how much do you appreciate how he's changed his game for you boys?
Yeah, I think I just respect him that much more. That's not an easy thing to do, especially, when you're putting up points and you're scoring those goals and whatnot. I just think that he came to a realization that the Flames way of hockey is, more of that sort of defensive structured game, more of forecheck, chip it in, go get it, take it to the net, maybe get a couple greasy ones and see if, he's going to score some goals that are great every year. He's still got the skill. He's still got, that talent. But I think for him, just changing up the mentality, just gives me more respect for him as a human, as a teammate, as a player, as a friend. But I think for him, a lot of it came from off the ice. He focused a lot more off the ice. I think he's expecting a baby here soon. Puts things in his perspective a little bit more. But I think what he's done for our team, he's not being selfish. There's never been an ego with Hubie. Super humble guy. And for him to, change his game like that is an incredible thing. So I never went unnoticed with our teammates and whatnot. But I still think there is, that skill and the talent that can still come out in him while he still plays that, grittier game. So.
Absolutely. That's well said, fella. Hey, last couple things here, a couple stats for me here. You went from 20 goals in 24 to 8 this year. What happened? Just didn't shoot it or what? What's going on, fella? Couldn't get them through or what?
The boys were tipping all my
Tipping all the shots? Yeah. Get out of the fucking way, right? Let it through.
Yeah. I was going in the whole time.
And then Weegsy, baby, last but not least, like I said, you got more games played than me here, but I'm looking over at your career plus minus. You're plus 112 in your NHL career, fella. Now, when I would have met you,
That's a silly stat.
when I would have met you, if you would have told me you were going to play in the NHL, I knew you were going to play in the NHL. I told T-Rex all the time, listen, he's going to play in the NHL. It doesn't matter if you hate him or not. But if you would have told me you'd be a plus 112, I would have taken the fucking under, fella. But that is unbelievable, man. You should be so proud of that. That's crazy. That's Bobby Orr status there, fella.
Oh, I appreciate that. I just try to be an asset in the defensive zone, and if we can get some goals up there while I'm on the ice, that always helps out. So the plus minus stat is not just a singular stat or individual stat. I think it goes well with all the lines that you're playing with. And my defensive partner's got to get some credit with that plus minus stat as well. So hopefully that thing keeps rising.
Fuck, it's nice to know you got 112 in the bank, though, eh? If you're minus 3 one night, you're like, fuck it, boys. Hey, shake her off. Don't worry about her. Weegsy, you're the best, buddy. You're so good to Missin Curfew. I love you. I'm so proud of you. Congrats on getting married, buddy. Have a great summer, and I can't wait to watch you snapping around next year, buddy. Have a great summer, my man.
Yeah. Weegsy, boys. It's a pleasure.
Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Up dog, Richie fellow, Weegsy, baby. Thank you to MacKenzie Weegar. I love that kid. I'm so proud of him. I say this every time we have him on. We have him on once a year. I knew he was a special player in San Antonio. I knew he was going to play in the league. I probably didn't know that he was going to be this good of a player. Like I said, plus 112, 550 games. I mean, he's a great kid. He's a good kid.
Very good. I bet you, as humble as he is, he had no idea he was a plus 112.
112.
Yeah, it's great. I take out of it that he's just a great teammate, that he had great teammates growing up, Obes, probably like you. He's raised well. Kid's got a good head on his shoulders. And I wanted to kind of get to ask him, but I just didn't know too much about himself, but just maybe what's going to get him to the next level. Like, he's had such great years. He obviously wants to get the Flames in the playoffs, Richie, but like, what takes MacKenzie Weegar into the next echelon of guys that, he was a pick for Team Canada. There's no question about that. He was probably on vacation with his phone on, Obes, knowing that, if a guy goes down, he's probably one of the guys getting a call. But what takes him to the next level, to be that elite defenseman? Because he's right there.
Yeah.
He's right there.
No, he definitely is.
He certainly is. He's going to be. He gets off to a good start. He's got a real good shot at that Olympic team. But and for me too, I think could be the next captain of the Calgary Flames.
Yeah,
that guy's got that kind of leadership quality in him, and he loves Calgary. He spoke so highly of the team and the city, and you can tell he's a real leader in that dressing room. So if Backlund moves on here, retires in the next couple of years, that could be a great pick for them. He seems like a great kid.
I agree with everything boys said there. We might have to maybe slide up there for the home opener, start the year maybe. Hey, you never know, fella to it.
I love Cowtown.
I know you do.
Yeah.
He just loves getting on the road. He'll go anywhere. This guy will go anywhere.
Stampede though, it's a couple weeks away. Maybe we just slide up for one.
I don't think
Not this year.
I don't think I can do
Slide
it.
Richie, slide up.
I don't think I can do her, but thank you to MacKenzie Weegar, Updog, Richie fellow. Thank you, Hall Pass Media, Kyle, Casey Conway, Max, the Ice Pick Pickup. That was Missin Curfew.
Fellas.